My name is Tatiana Angel. I own Tatiana Angel Artistry. I'd like to say that I'm a woman of many hats. So I do makeup. I do over 80 weddings a year. I specialize in bridal makeup. And I also just am about to launch my own lipstick line. And I also do Halloween, special effects makeup, body painting, hair, photography. I do content creation for many brands that tie into my lifestyle. Many of you may know this as being a social media influencer. My social media platforms are Instagram and YouTube, which you guys can find me under Tatiana Angel. So I've been in the industry for about 8 years now, and I've owned my own business for the past 4 years. And with that being said, I'm also a very proud Bayshore graduate.
Woo!
If someone was to tell me 20 years ago while I was walking down these halls, and sorry, I'm like nervous, guys. It's a little emotional being back here. I thought it would be harder for you guys. No, honestly. Well, I was walking down these halls 10 years ago trying to figure out my career and what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I probably wouldn't have believed you if you told me what I was doing today. And it's not because I couldn't see myself in what I'm doing, but it's because of how... Oh, I needed the tissue box. But it's because of how I was raised. And it's how I was raised. I'm a hot mess, guys. But it was because of how I was raised. And the expectations that my parents instilled in me. So, with that being said, my parents came to this country 39 years ago from Colombia. And they came from good jobs. They were college educated, they had family-owned businesses, and yet the opportunity presented itself for them to come to this country. And it was not easy for them, like, whatsoever. They worked hard. They worked very hard because they had one goal in mind. They wanted to create a better future for their 4 unborn daughters. My dad was 28 and my mom was 26. My parents' education went out the window. My mom went to scrub floors and clean toilets and do laundry for people who petted her. But she pushed that embarrassment aside on a daily because she knew she had a greater goal in mind. So they worked 2 to 3 jobs. They missed out on so many of our special events. But that didn't stop them. Within 4 years of being here, they purchased their first home. And in the end, they raised 4 strong, successful, and independent daughters, which one of them will be here speaking next period. So I think about what they did, and I think to myself, I'm 27 today. Can I pick up the good life that I have here and move to another country just because they say it's better? And honestly, I don't think I'd have the courage to do so. And that sometimes leaves me with such a heavy heart to know that my parents were able to make that sacrifice and come to this country for our future. So, inevitably, from their success in their countries to their struggles here, they expected nothing but the best for us. So I'm the youngest of 4 daughters. And from a very, very, very young age, I always expressed my artistic abilities. I always said I wanted to be an artist. And I don't know if everyone honestly took me seriously, but in my household, that probably wasn't going to be something that I'd actually be doing. So my senior year arrived, and my college applications were all in. I always knew college was a non-negotiable. Considering two of my sisters were accountants, one of them had just received a full academic scholarship, and being that my parents were also college educated and they were supposed to be professionals in their country, I knew that there was no getting around it. So here I am, and my parents sit me down and they have the talk with me. They say, "What are you going to do for the rest of your life?" And inevitably I thought, hey, they know who their artistic daughter is. I was enrolled in literally every single type of art elective that Bayshore had to offer. And I was in National Art Honor Society. So when I mentioned that I wanted to go to school for fashion, I thought in my head, hey, I'm going to college. I'm just choosing something that I want to do. But my world came crashing down. Bless you. My world came crashing down. At that moment is when I realized that they wanted something more for me. They told me that I wasn't going to succeed in any artistic field. They said that I had to be a doctor, a nurse, an accountant, a lawyer. They had a much greater goal in their head for me. And I didn't even fight them on it. I knew the sacrifices that they made to come to this country, so easily, I just went along with it. But let's be realistic. I don't think that was actually going to last. So I only lasted a semester and a half in school. And at that time, I was already working since I was 17. I was a manager at my job. And what I thought was going to be my life was literally the complete opposite. So now I'm 19, and I realized that what I decided to go to school for was not working out for me. But I was making more money than, my average friends. And little did I know what this management position was actually doing for me. That's when I discovered that I needed to follow my heart and follow my passion. I decided to go down to Carson Aveda Institute down in Soho, and I signed myself up for cosmetology school. I had an interest in the beauty world. But mind you, 10 years ago, what the beauty industry was to what it is today is completely different. I soon discovered that I didn't like hair. So that didn't stop me because I realized I like makeup. So I found a makeup school, signed myself up, got my certification, and realized that I barely learned anything there too. I practically could have basically learned it on YouTube because even YouTube existed then. It was just pure basics. But even though this may seem like a failure on one end, I knew that I had this hunger for something greater that I've always felt since I was a child. So from there, continuing, from there is when I decided to use my management and go for a job within the beauty industry. I started working for a counter, and I worked for Bobbi Brown for 4 years. And in that interim too, I was also freelancing. So I started focusing on weddings and bridal parties and special events on the side. But that's when I came to realize that being mixed with the beauty industry in the retail world was just not cut out for me. It was so draining, and I was losing my passion for something that I actually really, really liked. And that's when I knew that I had to make my leap of faith. This was my leap of faith that my parents took 30 years ago. And I knew that I wanted to own my own business. So I made a huge sacrifice from leaving what was a full-time, very well-paying 40-hour job with full-time benefits. Everything that they could have offered me, I had. And I dropped that to start from scratch, start from the bottom, and work for myself. And that comes with a lot. You think that owning your own business is easy, and it most certainly is not. It's endless hours, it's literally your entire day in and out, because you have no overhead. No one is on top of you telling you that you're doing the right thing. No one is giving you reviews or giving you raises at the end of the year. It's literally your own motivation. So my goal is to continue building an empire. I want to leave something for my children, but most of all, I want to leave my parents proud. Their youngest daughter has become an entrepreneur, and every sacrifice and every struggle that they went through has paid off, because look at them. They now have their immigrant parents who now have 4 successful daughters. So, thank you.